Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Before I begin, I just want to express my gratitude for this opportunity to meet on the Treaty 13 lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and just reaffirm the Green Party's commitment to the reconciliation process. Today, the Standing Committee on Finance and Economic Affairs is finalizing amendments to Bill 229. This bill, an omnibus budget bill that really is designed to help us address the global pandemic, or at least should be, contains Schedule 6, a proposal to amend the Conservation Act to gut the ability of conservation authorities to protect our drinking water and to protect us from flooding. I stand here today to amplify the voices of over 150 organizations, municipalities, mayors, nonprofits, and conservation authorities who are calling on this government to remove Schedule 6 from Bill 229, to protect the places we love, to protect our drinking water, to protect us from flooding, to stop the attack on conservation authorities. So many people are speaking out against Schedule 6 and Bill 229 because flooding is the costliest extreme weather risk in Canada, costing insurance payouts of over $1 billion in 11 of the last 12 years. And we know that the cost to infrastructure is 3 times that amount. Experts say the cost of flooding will triple over the next decade. That is why it is so fiscally irresponsible of this government to act with such reckless disregard for the way conservation authorities protect our water and protect us from flooding, saving lives and saving money. This past weekend, I was in Cambridge with Mayor McGarry on the banks of the Grand River, and we were joined by Regional Councillor Helen Jowett, who also serves as the chair of the Grand River Conservation Authority. And Cambridge is no stranger to flooding. It has experienced many floods over the last decades, including a major flood in 1974. They recognize the importance of conservation authorities, especially when the average cost to repair a flooded basement is over $43,000. And the cost to me as a taxpayer in the Grand River watershed to the CA is $2.80 a year. That is a deal that we cannot lose. Normally in press conferences like this, I would be joined by representatives from some of these organizations, and you would have an opportunity to hear directly from them why they want the government to remove Schedule 6 from Bill 229. But due to COVID-19 and public health restrictions, I'm not able to invite them to Queen's Park today. So if you'll allow me, I would like to just read a few quotes from some of these organizations. First, Ontario big city mayors, who represent 70% of Ontario's population, passed a resolution on Friday, actually the last day being chaired by my mayor, Cam Guthrie, and I'd like to thank him for his service chairing the Ontario Big Cities Mayors. I would like to quote them. Ontario Big City Mayors asked the Government of Ontario to remove Schedule 6 of Bill 229 to allow for further consultations to address these concerns, including the development of proposals that will improve Conservation Authority operations while strengthening environmental protections for the people of Ontario and ensuring cost neutrality for municipal governments. The Association of Municipalities of Ontario, which represent 443 municipalities, in their written submission to committee, and I would like to quote, "It is vital that development decisions be based on good local science and data. Some of the proposed amendments in Schedule 6 have raised questions about the potential to circumvent this important lens. In times when people need to abide by the limitations on a property's use due to erosion or flooding hazards, we must do all we can to rely on science and ensure we are not facilitating losses or damage to properties. The City of Guelph, the riding I represent, passed a resolution, and I'd like to quote from it. The City of Guelph encourages the Government of Ontario to pause on proposed Conservation Authority changes by either amending or removing Schedule 6 of Bill 229 in accordance with feedback and further consultation with conservation authorities and municipalities to address these concerns. I'd like to quote the City of Thunder Bay Councillor Andrew Folds and just highlight that this isn't just concern in Southern Ontario. I quote, "I think this is quite serious. It places a tremendous amount of power in the minister's office to allocate permits, potentially contrary to the advice of a conservation authority." I'd like to now quote Lakehead Region Conservation Authority Chair Donna Blunt, and I quote, "The Ford government seems to be putting business interests and developer interests ahead of environment and science-based decisions." I'd like to quote from a few organizations that unfortunately can't be with us today. The Federation of Urban Neighborhoods, and I quote, "Numerous changes are proposed which would slash the role of conservation authorities, disabling their role in ravine protection and enabling developers to sidestep conservation authorities and go directly to the minister for permits without CA review. The changes challenge the basic scientific premise of water management, that watersheds are shared resources. Management for them is a responsibility that must be shared between municipalities." Another community organization, For Our Kids, and I'd like to quote, "The roles and responsibility of conservation authorities are critical in protecting the land, waters, and wildlife which benefit businesses and communities across Ontario, and upon which our children's health and well-being ultimately depend. For the sake of Ontario's children, I urge you to remove Schedule 6 in its entirety from Bill 229. I could go on. The list is quite long. So I'm calling on the Ford government today to listen to the people of Ontario. If you look at the people these organizations represent, especially considering the big city mayors and AMO, they literally represent everybody in this province. And so I'm calling on the Ford government to listen to the people of this province. Remove Schedule 6 from Bill 229 today. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you do have any questions, please press star 1. Your first question comes from Adam Donaldson with Guelph Politico. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Adam.
Adam, your line is... Oh, it looks like Adam has disconnected.
Okay, no worries.
There are no further questions at this time.
Thanks, I appreciate that. I'm sure Adam will figure out another way to get a hold of me. So thanks, everyone, and have a good day and be safe.